Good morning, everyone. We welcome you to our Sunday morning roundtable discussion with the subject of Are Sin, Disease, and Death Real? So glad you could join us today. We're recording from the Plainfield Christian Science Church Independent, Plainfield, New Jersey, in the United States of America. And thank you, all of you who are working on the weather, because the weather has been just okay. It's been okay. Yeah, we're very grateful. So, all right, we'll start with the prayer, Florence.
Yeah, this morning I'm reading Mrs. Eddie's household lesson that she gave, and also that's from page 101 of the Blue Book, and then just a sentence from Science and Health, page 475. Hold to the correct view of man that heals. We adulterate the truth when we have a false sense of God and man. We have idols when we hold in thought the beliefs of sin, sickness, and death, and believe them to be real. We break the law when we believe that evil is as real as good, for this is a false sense which sees only the inverted image and not the true idea of God. Hence, it prevents us from reflecting the healing truth, having but one God and loving our neighbor as ourselves. Man is incapable of sin, sickness, and death. Mary Baker Eddy.
Thank you very much. And now the watching point.
It's watch 90. This watch lest you treat the body of your patient as though it were sick apart from his thought, or even treat his mind in order to make his body well. The mind is all that is ever sick, and the body shadows forth what one is believing and accepting as true. Furthermore, the man that calls itself sick is a false man, which we are seeking to put off, so that we may restore man to his Father, God. Therefore, we should not give the false sense of man a treatment in order to restore it to harmony, since then it would be more firmly entrenched in belief. Mortal man is sick when he accepts and fears thoughts and pictures of sickness. Restored harmony merely proves the inward correction of thought, just as a white dress appears to be white when a shadow fallen on it is removed. You believed the dress to be soiled when it was not. Man's body is never sick, and thought is all that ever needs correction. As all metaphysical treatment is given to thought in order to divest it of its weight of fear and to make it better. This is done through the realization that divine mind is forever supreme in man. The spiritual regeneration and spiritualization of thought is the only goal the practitioner should have in thought, in helping either himself or another. Mrs. Eddy once said, quote, all mental science in Christian Science that bases its power to heal only on its power to do good. This is from the Christian Science Journal, April 4th, 1883.
Thank you. All right, comments?
Don't attach an illness or a sickness to the patient. See it as a suggestion or belief that needs to be destroyed instead of a physical thing you have to heal.
Thank you. Yes. It's never physical because there is no matter, right? There's no matter to change or cure. It's all in thought.
Yeah, it says, taught us all that ever needs correction.
Yes.
That is it.
Well, I know when I came to this church, I had a lot of weight to lose, and humanly it would have seemed as though the first thing for me to do was to lose weight, but it actually there was a lot of other healings that needed to take place, and then the weight loss seemed to be kind of incidental after that. It became not a big deal. So that's what I was thinking about this week with this watching point. It's how important it is not to outline what goes first, what part of the healing goes first.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well,
so,
and isn't that because the weight that you were carrying was all mental weight, was all problems and things? So terrific.
Yeah, it's like what I realized is a heavy thought that made me once like that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Mrs. Evans wrote an article called Burden Thought because she once was extremely heavy. And then she realized it wasn't representative of being a Christian Scientist and or a practitioner. And she did. It all left. And not through dieting, but just through right thinking and asking, is this hunger or appetite? Before she ate, and also to always be praying before you eat anything, to know it can only bless you. Those are all laws of matter that say you gain weight or you lose weight or this or that. That's why the importance of praying before you eat. And Mrs. Eddy said she always did it. She did it as a child. She could not do it. So it's very important. Even if you're out, we always pray, or even if you're with a group of people that don't pray anyway. Just lower your head and pray.
Just like we see them do in The Chosen.
Yes, that's right. For everything. So
I just love this, though. There's just such a sense of hope with that, that nothing is hopeless. If something is outside of you, then it can make you feel like it's kind of hopeless, like you can't control it. But this is so beautiful. That the kingdom of God is within you, and the prayer of have that mind in you, which was also in Christ, that just gives you this kind of eternal faith, that this can be thrown off, if you will.
yes, never the truth, ever the truth, never. And someone once had told me that incurable stands for the cure is within you, in you. There's no cure the doctors have given you up. The cure has to be within, and that cure, as you just said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. So the cure is there. And we quote it often, but that statement of Jesus behold in science the perfect man, where sinning mortal man appeared to mortals. In this perfect man, the Savior saw God's own likeness, and this correct view of man healed the sick. And I know that's often I use that, work with that all the time. Whatever it is you're seeing the truth about, you see God's own likeness right there, right where it appears to be a problem is in fact God's own likeness. It couldn't be otherwise because everyone is the image and likeness of God. Is that not true?
It's true.
Yes. So you look for that, you reach for that, and you bring that out in the person, and the other false stuff just falls away because we are all his image and likeness. I love it. The Savior saw God's own likeness, and that's what healed the sick.
Mm-hmm. I think the
I
phrase
love how
the correct view is so precious to me. The correct view.
The correct view, right.
Yes.
Our viewpoint, what we see, what we behold. Who else was speaking?
I just wanted to say that it reminded me of how Jesus said, look up, the fields are white for harvest now. And so we have to first be grateful that that truth of the perfect man is, no matter what we think we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good place to start.
Yes. And Mrs. Eddy said that healing physical sickness is the smallest part of Christian Science. And what was the biggest part?
Healing of sin.
Yes. And why?
Disobedience.
What's say?
I said disobedience.
Yes, yes.
And we want to hold on to sin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they like to sin. People can like to sin or think it gives them some satisfaction when it doesn't.
It's because when we start to see spiritually or have our spiritual discernment, we have to let go of the false comfort of sin.
Yes.
Right. And we can't see spiritually until we do so, can we?
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you all. I think I'm going to start. Nancy, read what you sent, please.
Yes. Are sin, disease, and death real? Mrs. Eddy writes in Unity of Good on page 10, by knowing the unreality of disease, sin, and death, you demonstrate the allness of God. This difference wholly separates my system from all others. The reality of these so-called existences I deny, because they are not to be found in God. And then from a 1922 journal by Duncan Sinclair, The One Primal Cause, he quotes Mrs. Eddy, there is but one primal cause. Therefore, there can be no effect from any other cause, and there can be no reality in aught which does not proceed from this great and only cause, that's science and health. And then he says, does evil or disease proceed from the one perfect primal cause? Impossible. Then evil or disease can have no reality. It is, as Christian Science terms it, a false belief, an illusion, an unreal sense. The very fact that evil or disease can be healed or destroyed is proof of its unreality. For surely that only can be real in the absolute sense, which is indestructible.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Her logic, Mrs. Eddy's logic is so perfect and complete, just like the logic in math.
Yes.
That's why she compares Christian Science with mathematics and music, right? There are rules, and if you follow the rules, you will always come to a perfect conclusion.
That's why law is so important in Christian Science and in everything. Follow law and the obedience to the laws. It's very important that you obey. That student, we've talked about the student who didn't understand and wasn't going to obey until he or she understood. And what was Mrs. Eddy's reply?
Obey first.
Obey.
Obey, and then you will understand. And that is so true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like refusing to work out a math problem because you don't understand it. But once you start working on it, then, oh yeah, I get it now.
Well, it's important to see, like, everything that's asked of you in science is not different than what we were asked to do in school. We did not understand multiplication before we were taught it and worked through the problems, and then it became understandable.
And you're never asked to do more than what you can do. And it's within you, because God wouldn't make a creation that doesn't understand him. It's within you. It's just been covered over by miseducation or other things, but it's there. That's why you have to see the perfect man in yourself.
And others.
And others, yes. But it starts in yourself too. And the beginning of science and health in this lesson, entirely separate from the belief and dream of material living, is the life divine, revealing spiritual understanding and the consciousness of man's dominion over the whole earth. This understanding casts out error and heals the sick, and with it you can speak as one having authority. So remember, if you seem to be experiencing something that's not of God, you are in the belief and dream of material living. You are in a dream state. You are believing an illusion. And that illusion, that dream state, has no power. It seems to, just as the night dream seems to. And Mrs. Eddy says that, right? I've awakened from dreams, and my heart's pounding. I thought something awful has happened. You can even feel things in dreams that aren't really happening, right?
Yes. What a relief, though, to know that it's a dream.
Exactly. What a relief to awake. And last week we talked about the different ways of awaking. And one of them is declaring the truth. I mean, think of how your mother or father or whoever used to wake you as a child. Wake up, get up, wake up. Declaring that truth, rousing yourself. You rouse yourself when you feel that lethargy coming in, because that's how the error gets to you. It gets you lethargic. Mrs. Eddy says that the Adam comes first mildly. Oh, listen to me for a little bit. I'm not so bad. Just hear what I have to say. And then it lulls you into a false sense of security. And pretty soon you're going down the chutes. So the minute it starts, it's insipid conversation. You have to shut it up and out. Why? Because your loyalty is to God and God alone.
Mm-hmm.
You won't listen to any other voices. You won't heed to any other call, as the hymn says. So any of these things, sin, disease, and death, it's all part of a dream, not the truth. And I used to wonder, okay, I kind of get that, but then what? So then what is it? You're in the house of the Lord. You're living with the Father. Every good thing, all that you need. He's your best and ever friend, and he gives you every good thing. Health, joy, peace, companionship, anything you need, he gives. He is. He's the source of all good. You never, ever lack any of it. But it's why I often say to stay in the Father's house. Don't be lured out. Oh, I didn't bring that quote. Could you find that quote about the passing procession?
Oh, yeah.
Don't ever be lured out of it. There's a quote that Mrs. Eddy gave to Edward Kimball. It's in Collectania. We have it on the website now, I hope.
Yes, it's on page 45 of Collectania. We each dwell in our own world of consciousness. We look out through the window of this consciousness and behold the passing procession of mortal mind. Day after day we have been lured forth, have pressed into the whirl, lost our individual peace and poise in divine mind, and found ourselves dragged through the uncleanness, the pain of the procession. We seek to regain our own home of consciousness, wiser for the experience, thinking we will not again become part of error's pageant, but here let the newer understanding of love guard well your door. Stay in your own home of demonstration. Keep your peace, for idle curiosity, criticism, or even false sympathy may lure you forth.
Thank you. Very, very apt explanation of what happens when you're not alert and awake and working. And that doesn't mean you have to hide out in your home. No, you go out amongst everyone like the Christ did. But you maintain your peace, you maintain your sense that you are in your Father's home. And if you hear things or see things that aren't of him, you do rebuke them. Sometimes audibly, sometimes just mentally is all you need to do, but you must do it. You mustn't accept it or go along with it. That is part of staying awake. Staying awake.
And our challenge as Christian Scientists, since we are here in the world, our challenge is to not be of the world. And that is why, look up, look to the hills, rise up. And it all refers to lift our consciousness to what we know is true. And don't be fooled by the stuff that tries to tell you that it's not true, or that other things which are false are true, because that is the challenge. And with a little bit of help, it can be done.
I really liked how the lesson brought out this authority feeling, because, sometimes you find yourself being kind of passive, and yet, Jesus spoke with authority, and Mrs. Eddy tells us that we can speak to disease as one having authority. And I looked up the definition of authority, and it says a right to command or to act. So it's like, so I have that authority. It's like, it was kind of empowering to think about. It's like, not just Jesus, but we have that authority and we need to exercise it.
Thank you. Yes, the first few citations in Science and Health are that authority that we get with the Christ. And it's most important that we do speak that word.
That is the freedom that God gives to each one of us. We each have the freedom to do right. Nobody has the freedom to do wrong. That's not freedom.
Yeah, and those, that we see who would try to do that, they will come to an end because they're not being obedient. They think they have the freedom to do wrong, right? You don't. And we do see that, and the Bible speaks to it. That you see all these. Oh, what about all these people? They don't listen to God. They don't go to church, and look how well they're doing. Well, come on, people. they might look to the human sense that they're doing well, but are they really?
And Nabal in the Bible, he was doing well humanly. That didn't stop him from his heart turning to stone.
Thank you. Yes. So
God gives you the authority to do what is yours to do. And you have that authority when God gives it to you. And how do you know that you have that authority anyway?
You must know that you are in connection, in that unity we are inseparable from God.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Your spiritual sense will never deceive you. your spiritual sense will let you know. Just don't be afraid to follow it.
Or afraid to exercise that authority. Man has made, but God has made man capable of this, and nothing can vitiate the power bestowed upon man by God. You have the ability to speak with authority. You are God's image and likeness. So when the voice starts to whisper to you, you tell it to get thee hence Satan, and mean it with the authority of Christ, not with your own authority. With your own authority, you will fail. But with the authority of Christ, you can never fail.
Thank you, Lenny, for pointing that out.
Yes, thank you. There,
yeah, it's very empowering, when you really start to think it and claim it like that. And just like you were saying too, in the previous lesson, it was like God is not separate from the wisdom he bestows. So that authority is, you get that wisdom from God. It comes with the authority and the power to carry it out.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And the sooner you do it, the better, right? Because you let it go on and on and on, and then it seems to become more real to you. But it's never, Mrs. Eddy says that, it's never too late. Start now, start sometime. Why not now? Now is the accepted time. Do it. And don't think about doing it. Do it. Don't wait till you understand. Do it. Do it. And know it's effective. What were you saying about there's a watch, a chapter in spiritual
69, it's footsteps.
Footsteps.
And it tells how you have to use that authority.
The power of God being invincible. Carpenter goes over and over that. It's so wonderful. Anytime we do a watch, anytime you declare any truth, you need to know it's the word of God and it is invincible. There's no power, there's no other power. Nothing can stand in its way. It's important to know this all the time. And that's why when we pray or watch, we say, or whatever you're doing, pray before, during, and after, and know you possess that power as a child of God if you are living in obedience to his commandments. Now, there was a beautiful article that Carrie sent called The Word Declared, which goes along with this. And it's by Blanche Hersey Hogue, which was one of the wonderful good workers. And she's saying that whenever the word is being declared, whensoever or wheresoever it has been declared, fruit has been born. And she goes through the ages, follow Moses and a long line of leaders and prophets, emphasizing in their degree of understanding, and we all have different degrees, the truth about man, and crying out against the teachings, the customs, and the sins of their times, recognizing one and all that a fact must be declared to be established, and working to that end through denunciation, encouragement, exhortation, rebuke, exalted example, praise, and prophecy. Isn't that true? The word. Felt ye the power of the word. And then Christian Science commands its students to work, to cease loitering, complaining, and doubting, and to bring the saving declarations of the truth into active duty every hour of the day. If but one thought of truth has been gleaned from study, that one thought must be cherished as a dear companion. I just love that. Just one thought of truth. That's why we've been told to take one thought from the lesson every day, write it down, and work with it when Era starts talking. It's a dear companion. Write it down, keep it in your pocket or your purse or wherever. And declare, it says, be cherished as a dear companion and to be declared again and again. Such right mental activity will put to flight armies of evil suggestions with all their attendant weariness and pain. And this is called persistent repetition. And what does Mrs. Eddy say? The work is not humdrum, dear ones. It is repeating and defeating, repeating and defeating. So we don't get discouraged, as the watching point says about the pile of leaves that come on your walk every day. If it seems like the same pile, it's not the same pile. You keep clearing it off. You are making progress. Era tries to tell you you're not, but you are. If you were doing this, you are making progress. And as she says in Science and Health, when the smoke of battle clears, you will discern the good you have done. And this applies to any problem you're having. Doesn't matter what it is. So before we go too far, Florence, I wanted you to talk about that article, beautiful article you found on the Christian Science home, since we're talking about staying in the Father's house.
Oh dear, I don't.
You have it. We could go to something else if you want.
Yeah, I don't have it right here. But.
Okay. All right, then. This goes along your contribution, Linda.
Yes, I was looking at the citation in the responsive reading that in Philippians it says, "Do all things without murmurings and disputings." And this is a very good thing because this is a sin, this complaining. That's a quick thing to put you into feeling hopeless and asleep. So I found a article called "Do Everything Without Grumbling." It was from the website from Desiring God, and I like the way they put it. So he went on, he's referring to this quote, and he says, "It's remarkably easy to breeze by this command without hearing those two intrusive words, all things. Do all things without grumbling. Yes, all things. You wake up not feeling well, you receive criticism, if you have to pay a parking ticket, shovel spring snow, host house guests, discipline children, change a flat tire, answer emails, and do everything else without one murmuring word." And then he says, quote, "This is a hard saying," end quote. "We might be tempted to say, who can listen to it?" And then that's from John. That was the disciples complaining about what Jesus was teaching. Then he goes on, "Many of us wake up set to grumble and move through our days murmuring at a great variety of objects that get in our way. We may dress it up with nice words like venting or being honest, getting something off our chest, or sharing a prayer request. But God knows what we're doing, and if we really think about it, often we do too. Grumbling is often the Christian's indwelling sin. And that makes non-grumblers a peculiar people in this world. As Paul goes on to tell us, those who, quote, "do all things without grumbling," and the end quote, burn like great suns in a world of darkness. And that's in Philippians 2. Paul's use of the word grumbling takes us back to the desert between Egypt and Canaan, where we meet that group of experienced grumblers. What do their 40 years of the wilderness teach us about grumbling? They teach us that grumbling is discontentment made audible, the heart's contempt escaped through the mouth. It is the sound we make when we have a strong craving for something we do not have, and we begin to grow restless. The object of our craving need not be evil, and often isn't. The Israelites, for example, reached for quite harmless things like food and water, a safe passage to the promised land, and comfort. But the desires for these good things somehow turned bad. They wanted them sooner than God chose to give them, and they wanted them more than they wanted God himself.
Very good.
Yeah, I thought it was very helpful.
Very good. That's a sign you're going off when you start this grumbling stuff. And along with the grumbling is the ingratitude.
Yes.
You're not grateful when you start grumbling, and then Era says, "Aha, aha, aha! I have you." Now you're going to listen because you have all these things to be miserable about, all these things you don't have that you want, or all this feeling sick or whatever else it's trying to tell you. And you've got to turn that around and speak, yes, like Lenny said, with authority, like the lesson says, the authority of Christ, to banish those thoughts. Why? This is obedience to God. And these things, as Martha Wilcox says, the greater works are preventing problems from happening in the first place. You do these early on, you don't have the problems later because you've handled it when it's been just a tiny little suggestion rather than when it seems to manifest itself in the Adam dream. And then, oh, it seems so real when you're in that dream. Well, start now to wake yourself up and get out of it. And there's no time like right now. The longer you wait, the more misery you're going to have. When that ultimately is your choice, you're doing it. You're choosing to do it. No one is forcing you. No one is holding it over your head and say, you have to think these crummy thoughts no matter what. No one is doing that. You're doing it to yourself by refusing your obedience to God. And honestly, it's really that simple. Once you start doing it, you'll find it is that simple.
So I will second that, because having been a grumbler and complainer almost all my life and getting into that habit and coming here and learning that it was a sin and then working out of it, it is actually very simple. You think, I mean, for a while it takes intense discipline because you've allowed it for so long, but once you start doing it, it's like so freeing. And
thank you. Yes, for a while it takes intense discipline because it's such an ingrained habit.
I think worry.
I think I'm guilty of grumbling at bad drivers. I think I've got some work to do here.
Yes, you do.
Get a statement with you of a truth that you can hold to help you with that. It can be done. That's what I did every day. I would carry a little statement of truth. I was told that by my practitioner here with me to work, and I would just hold to it. Boy, did it save me from so much and brought healing to wherever I was. And remarkable, because this was sometimes in a special ed room where there were kids that had severe issues, and the situations would be turned around. So,
Shardy?
Oh, I think I just dawned on me, when I worry or something that I did something wrong or whatever, that's grumbling.
It is. You're right. That's very true. It's a good point. You're worried you did something wrong. You're grumbling. Who, Lenny?
I was just going to say, it seems like if rumination starts the trial, grumbling extends it a lot longer than it needs to be.
Thank you. That's a very important statement in the trial. Mortal man ruminated, and the trial began. Mrs. Evans said, you put yourself in the court of mortal mind. And when you ruminate, you're in the court of mortal mind. And this lesson and that the trial is such a wonderful example of that. Who wants to be in that trial? But you have Judge Medicine, you have all these horrible people on the jury. I mean, you don't have a chance, honey bunch. You just don't. So there we are. Thank you.
Self-justification. Oh, I have a good reason to grumble.
Yes. Believe me, we all do. We all can.
Yes.
But the more you do it, the more justification you're going to have. It increases its claims on you till you stop it. What?
Yeah, the hole gets deeper.
The hole gets deeper.
And like you said, I mean, it's a fixed trial. You can't win.
You can't win in that trial. Thank you. Thank you. That's a good word. At a fixed trial, you cannot win in that. So but you put yourself in it by all your blah, 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 boo, boo, boo. So don't
Carrie,
go
can I
there.
say, I used to ruminate all night long until I made a law for myself. Don't ruminate, just meditate. That's made all the difference in my life and my sleep.
Yeah,
That's good.
It's wonderful. Thank you.
That's a good calendar quote.
It is. Okay. Thank you very much. Don't ruminate, meditate. Get your thought back on the Father right away, and things will lift. Excuse me, I just choked on my water. Thank you. So there's another article Carrie sent that goes with that. It says, every human problem rightly solved leads thought to a higher level, and it is impossible to attain the higher level except by solving our problems. It is thus we escape from hampering beliefs. I'll let you read it.
Therefore, their solution is of great importance. On the road from sense to soul, problems may be regarded as signboards bearing the word arise. To human sense, our problems hold us in the lock of mortal limitation until spiritual understanding raises us to a higher level of thinking, and we are fitted to take the next step upward. Every earnest student of Christian Science knows that no honest effort is lost, even though mortal mind, so called, argues that the student is at a standstill. Persistent effort and confidence continue to lift us higher spiritually. And when our thinking has been sufficiently exalted, problems gradually cease to baffle us. Therefore, regardless of what material sense may affirm, we can go forward with rejoicing.
Thank you. And that's a good way. I like that thought about problems may be regarded as signboards bearing the word arise. Lift yourself up, get in the right thought, start expressing gratitude, start thinking thoughts of God, start seeing yourself and others as an image and likeness of God. Arise up out of the problem.
I remember well when shortly after I came to the Plainfield Church, after being miseducated in the Boston churches, but when I came to Plainfield, I remember well when I first began to not be impressed by problems. When they stopped frightening me or bothering me or upsetting me or causing me to ask, why do I have this problem? It took a while, but after a while, I stopped asking all those questions and I stopped feeling that way about problems. And we had, Mrs. Evans was a wonderful practitioner and teacher, and she helped me see through these problems and helped me see that, what the problems were all about, the illusion of mortal, the mortal dream. And after that, I actually came to look forward to problems, like a math problem. I used to enjoy solving math problems. Well, why not life problems? They can be solved, and they are solved, and we can look forward to, because they are signs to arise. They do force us to get closer to God, and they force us to grow spiritually, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, they're opportunities. It reminds me of when they were asking Jesus whether the blind man sinned or his parents sinned, and he said that it was happening so that the works of God should be made manifest in him. And I just love that.
Yeah.
So that's the right attitude. Your attitude is so important on how you confront things. With a positive attitude, you'll rise up above it. And Mrs. Eddy has said, don't beat out against the mist. Simply rise above it. So you rise with declaring the word, knowing the truth, keeping yourself awake. And this wonderful trial, isn't it wonderful when Christian Science comes in to this mortal mind trial that, what did you say, Craig?
Oh, it's fixed trial.
A
Fixed trial. There's no way you can win it. So don't try buggling around in there. It's not going to work. And, just came in with the authority of Christ to tell you this is all law. This is all false law, not the truth. And you don't have to bow down before it or behind it. Helping your neighbor, the right law says that you're only blessed by doing this. And so you are. So, and this is the importance too, to study your textbooks, study them so you know what the laws are, so you know what home you're in, the Father's house, where you can rejoice daily. Your thought is like a sponge in the morning. We were taught this. Therefore, when you wake up, the first thing you do is start thanking God, declaring the truth, knowing God is your mind, your life. Right away, as soon as your eyes open, you get on the offensive. You don't sit there and wait till little comes all over you, okay? And when you go to bed at night, too, it should be a time of thanking God and rejoicing in the good of the day. Don't go to bed with any problems on your mind. Give them all to God, and you will find your days are going to be wonderful. Now, and the importance of studying your textbook and knowing everything you need to know, I just want to give you some pages in the Red Book, which is Essays and Other Footprints, about what Mrs. Eddy said. One of them I read Wednesday night, because as we talked about last week, it would seem that there is this witchcraft and other things going on. Now, this is the mental malpractice that goes on. It has no power because it's not of God, but you must be aware of it. You must know it is going on. Otherwise, it seems to put people in this dream state where they're dreaming awful, sometimes very ridiculous things that we don't have to dream, that your family doesn't have to dream, your children don't have to dream, if you stay awake to it and work. Now, she says on pages, it's 137 and 138, she's talking about Revelation 20. Science and health is the angel sent down from heaven. Malicious animal magnetism is the bottomless pit, and science and health gives us the key to it. It unlocks the mysteries of the ages, and its declarations of truth are the chain which binds that old serpent, the devil, for 1,000 years. That is, it reduces sin, sickness, and death to a unit of nothingness. Science and health are textbook. How often do you study it? And then, verse 3 in Revelation 20, unity of good is the seal that was put upon the devil and Satan, for its teachings make it impossible for him to longer deceive the nations. Unity of good in prose works. It's
often referred to as Mrs. Eddy's masterpiece.
She referred to it as
She
that.
referred to it. That's her masterpiece.
It's a seal. Now, don't we want to put the seal on Satan? Verses 4 and 6. They who have been taught of science and health, the heavenly messenger, are they who sit upon the thrones and have judgment given unto them. For they declare the science of being over all error, and their judgment is the judgment of God. Then the good that is the reflection of God is separated from the good that is only a false belief or error, which has upon it its mark, the mark of the beast. Then the true reflection of God good reigns with those who sit upon the thrones, overcoming the unit of error. They who are thus taught reign with Christ, whose second appearance is the first resurrection. Again, the importance of studying our textbook, prose works, Mrs. Eddy's works. When we do this, all this is counteracting the Adam dream and putting an end to it, a silence to it, bringing forth the reign of Christ for 1,000 years. Then, verse 7, it was necessary that Satan should first be bound and then loosened for a season. That which bound him was the scientific statement of being. That which loosed him was the chapter on malicious animal magnetism. Now, I think now we've had for a while, I call it the reign of Jezebel, but it would seem like Satan unloosed. But it is, we do this work, it is being bound. We are shutting it up for once and forever. And then she goes on. The true meaning of Satan, loosed again, is found in the definition of the verb to loosen, to be less tight, firm, or compact, Webster. But the saints meet each Gog and Magog, or statement of malicious animal magnetism, with a denial of error and the declaration of love, which is the fire that comes down from God out of heaven. It is only as Satan is bound and then loosed, and each saint is compelled to meet every statement of the error, that the army of evil is devoured. And the devil, the deceived, is cast into the lake of fire and brimstone. It is in the constant handling of malicious animal magnetism that the dragon and the serpent and the devil or Satan is tormented forever and ever. And this constant handling of malicious animal magnetism enables the student of divine science to discern the great white throne of pure good, and him that sits upon it is love, from whose face the heaven and earth of mortal mind, the beliefs of good and evil, flee away, and no place is found for them, for they are not. Those are very important teachings. We must never get tired of our work or our watching or our repeating and defeating. We meet each era as it comes to us and defeat it, and there's great power in that. And in doing that, we are helping save the world, truly. And it is our responsibility for doing it, or as Mrs. Eddy says, left undone. So now we'll have an ending.
We will end excerpt from an article entitled "The Conquering Spirit" from the 1885 Christian Science Journal. And the author writes, "Is there a balm in Gilead for the numberless woes that afflict humanity? Is there a physician for the sick? Is there a resting place for the weary? This is the wailing cry of millions today, and the cry that has arisen to heaven for ages. We believe that earth has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal. We believe that the condition of health and happiness is within the reach of all. It is ignorance that keeps us from our heritage, from that which is in our power to possess. The Master of Life, who walked in Palestine, taught us that spirit is the legitimate master of matter, and that to understand this is to drive sin, sickness, and sorrow away from the spirit's temple, the body. That it, the body, is the instrument of the spirit, as the axe is an instrument in the hands of a woodman. Sin and disease are abnormal or unnatural, therefore not of God. That which is not of God has no reality, intelligence, or truth in it. If it were otherwise, God could not be good. He could not be perfect." Unquote.
Thank you all for joining us today.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.